All right, YouTube, there's a new Hillary Clinton-related scandal now brewing out of Massachusetts, the Massachusetts Republican Party, which is uh, a bit like being, I guess, the best steel worker in Cuba or something like that, is calling for a more thorough investigation of this. I'm not surprised. Apparently what happened is there was a law firm there, the Thornton Law Group, and it was involved with some sort of straw donor conspiracy. What that is, basically, the firm itself is capped as to how much it can donate to a political campaign. I think $1,600 or so. That should be the only sort of funding that a political movement can get, by the way. Should be one individual, one donation, capped at a certain level, nothing beyond that. But what they were doing is getting their members, all of their associates, their members, to also match that donation and then paying them back from the law firm. What this does is it skirts the law by decentralizing the actual donations. What happens? Let's say let's say I have 10 employees and I own a business. I can only donate once to a political campaign from that business. I can give them the capped amount. But I can also tell all of my people around me, my employees, hey, I want you to donate as well to this campaign, and then I'll just reimburse you from the company funds. It's a way around the law. People who otherwise might not really have much interest can then donate a second time, in addition, I believe, to their individual giving. Then the business simply reimburses them. Now, it's illegal. The law group is saying it's not, but thankfully they don't get to determine the legality of their own campaign contributions. The Clinton campaign is quietly returning the money, but they also donated a massive sum to Elizabeth Warren, who's saying that she's not going to return the money until the investigation finds that it's actually illegal. Well, quite clearly is. It's an attempt to skirt campaign law. I'm not even sure, by the way, I will say in a little bit of cynicism here, I'm not sure why this would happen, since couldn't the business just have formed some sort of on-paper super PAC and said, okay, well now we can give an unlimited amount? Because, I mean, was this law group, this like state-level entity, probably in communication with the Clinton campaign? Yeah, probably not. It was just an attempt to exceed the capped amount that they were allowed to donate. But if they wanted to donate more, why not just do what everybody else under the sun does, form a super PAC, then you can donate as much as you want, run political ads, you can do basically whatever you want. Why didn't you contact Tony Podesta and have them bundle a bunch of your law firm's holdings in with some Chinese slush fund to be dispersed to the Clinton campaign, along with all the Saudi and Chinese and Qatari money that she's getting, as well as apparently money from Morocco, Ethiopia, and everything else through and bypassing her foundation as well. So I've got another bit of evidence here of not rigging in an electoral sense, but certainly in a money sense. The fact that this is still going on in the age of super PACs is boggling anyway. Why would you go through the trouble of breaking the law when the Supreme Court has made it so easy for you to essentially do what none of our founders ever thought that you should be able to do? Nobody in their right mind thinks should be legal, but DC, the swamp up there, possibly soon to be drained, they all think it should remain legal because those super PACs give them all sorts of benefits. And then they get all sorts of kickbacks, let's face it, which is what happened in this case. Again, what happens is because the business has a capped donation level, you simply get all the associates and other people there to donate, and then you just reimburse them. So they don't actually, they're technically not the ones donating, it's just another business donation above and beyond the cap, but on paper it looks like an individual contribution. Very shifty. Like I said, though, the Clinton campaign is trying to reimburse the thousands of dollars very quietly. Warren, meanwhile, as well as other politicians, all of whom are Democrats, every single one of them apparently, it looks like they're going to hold on for dear life and hope this doesn't tarnish their electoral chances. Elizabeth Warren, by the way, she should have been out a long time ago. If she knew the gravity of the situation, she'd probably drop this money faster than she dropped her claim that she was a pure-blooded Indian or something some years ago. We all remember that, when she tried to claim that her critics were a bunch of ethnocentric evil white racists because she was, I don't know, part Apache or something. It turns out that probably wasn't the case. She could never verify it. It's like I'm supposedly 1/16th Abenaki. But if I were on a political campaign, I wouldn't try to use that as a political issue because I can't verify that fact. And until you can, you shouldn't bother making that claim in a political sense for your own ill-gotten gains. Elizabeth Warren sees no problem with that. Elizabeth Warren's corrupt as hell, by the way. Let's not make any mistake that just because she happens to pretend to be more of a social progressive than Clinton, that she's somehow in a different league. She's just the same old establishment bullcrap partisan artist from the Democratic Party. That's the reason why she wants this money. She's, I believe, locked in quite a tight race for her life as far as making sure she keeps her seat. Hopefully she gets kicked to the curb. Hopefully they all do. And that includes a bunch of Republicans. Saw the new poll has McCain up, I think, 6 points. Hopefully he falters. Hopefully they get rid of McCain. It's about time for him to retire and go out to, I don't know, he can go hunting with Dick Cheney or something. Just when you do that, you have to wear a bulletproof vest, obviously, but if Dick Cheney doesn't like you, he'll shoot you in the ass with some birdshot at some point, like he did to that other unfortunate individual back during the Bush administration. Honestly, when I heard that Dick Cheney had shot someone, I assumed that he did it on purpose. Turns out that wasn't maybe the case. Maybe he did mean it, and he's like, oh shit, sorry, it was an accident, totally. But, yeah, that's probably the sort of thing Clinton would do, too, honestly, judging from her personality. Or Warren. Warren wouldn't even hesitate. She'd just blow your head off, probably, if she didn't like you. If she had the chance to do it and get away with it, yeah, she's the sort of person, I think, who would do something like that. I know it's a little bit of a tangent here, but, yeah, a new scandal involving the Democratic Party taking straw donations. Rather funny, considering they talk about how supposedly fair the system is. Internally, the system's just totally transparent and fair, no funny business whatsoever. But if you go across the Atlantic or the Pacific, honestly, go over to Russia, you see, oh, massive systemic corruption. They're constantly trying to hack and rig our elections. It's all those people are to blame. Nobody here in the United States would ever think to tamper with a voting machine or file a fraudulent ballot or sign somebody up to vote who's not legally eligible to vote. Never, in a million years, never happened. The electronic systems are ironclad, can't be tampered with. Not one iota of belief that could possibly happen, unless it involves Russia. Then it's rigging all the way down, from top to bottom. Everything's rigged. Nothing internal, everything external. That's the claim that the Clinton camp is making right now. It's retarded. It's clearly not true, but they expect their hardened fans, I suppose, to take up this line and believe them anyway, because some of these people they're partisan enough to take the bait, I guess. They actually believe that Vladimir Putin's fucking with the voting machines. I think Pennsylvania just ruled that they were going to have electronic-only voting and wouldn't provide paper ballots or something like that. If so, it's kind of concerning. I think we should do the opposite. I think we should ban electronic voting altogether. It should all be paper ballots. They should be hand-counted. No electronic voting whatsoever. It's too high a risk. It's so much more difficult for them to fake a bunch of paper ballots as opposed to fucking with a voting machine that's going to count, 10,000 votes that night or something like that. I'd much rather deal with the possibility of the occasional fraudulent paper ballot as opposed to the very high likelihood now that somebody could intrude into an electronic voting system. Thankfully, in my state, we have paper ballots only. I think that should be the model for the entire country. Every state should have only paper ballots. We should have a constitutional amendment specifically for that system, specifically banning all forms of electronic voting as far as machines or counting goes, honestly. That's about all. Peace out.